press R in handheld mode, tap. Yeah, I already know about that, but regardless of anything else though, let's just go ahead and press the R button just in case we can able to actually get into the actual main action before we dive right in. So, hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Mexi here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while we're still playing through Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we did manage to able to start the game off and managed to rescue the first ever Grand Star in the game, and also we did manage to collect another 3 Power Stars, which we somehow managed to able to explore around on Good Egg Galaxy, and oh no, I did have a really great run when it comes to like speedruns alike most of the time. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're going to be heading over to Honey Hive Galaxy to take on, what else, even more missions, starting with B Mario Takes Flight. So, of course, to be expected, we can able to actually stumble across our first ever power-up. Well, technically, we've already come across into our first ever power-up in the game itself so far. To be more specifically, Super Mario Galaxy in mind. That, obviously was the Rainbow Star, which actually gives you invincibility for a few seconds notice. So either way though, we can able to expect what the second power-up that we might able to come across into. So either way though, because let's face it though, it's the fact that we pretty much exactly know what the power-up exactly is going to be. Thanks to forms of every time whenever you do manage to able to actually start the game off, from the likes of the forms of Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario 3D All-Stars compilation, then you do realize about the fact that you might have well able to obviously already spoiled yourselves for able to actually stumble across those power-ups you have never seen before. Mind you, about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that this is an emulation of the 2007 game, which originally came out on the Nintendo Wii system, but either way though, it knows what it is, so anyway, so let's go ahead and just demolish those boulders again, so that hopefully we can able to get even more star bits, but I don't think we can able to actually collect that much star bits down the road, mainly because I just want to able to speed things up a little bit, because as far as I'm aware, I just want to able to actually just to carry on just doing some more uploading schedules alike. So, anyway, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that today's day is of course the 5th of September, if I recall correctly, from the likes of 2022 today. So it looks like about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that, well, I think I'll discuss more now in a second, because either way though, as you can tell, that the reason why I'm actually ignoring the bee mushroom for now on, mainly is because, well, obviously I've always managed able to always attempt to do some very cool tricks, and also some of those shortcuts you can take. Well, most of the time it's more accurately like some cool tricks here and there to able to speed things up a notch, but able to actually decide to able to actually speed things up a little bit. Except for this spot right there, because obviously if you hop onto those specific flower platforms, you will still able to go right through it. So in this case, we're able to equip the Bee Mario anyway, so that way we can able to fly around. So, but what's interesting is the fact that originally it was supposed to able to say, hold the A button down in order to able to buzz around, unlike the Wii version. Well, technically both the Wii and Wii U versions, because obviously they both played exactly the same game, except in the forms of the Switch version, because for some reason they just somehow changed it into B button. Well, my guess is the fact that much like you know, Super Mario 64 as well as Super Mario Sunshine on this compilation, basically does the fact that both A and B buttons act out as a jump button. So I guess that makes it pretty obvious, because now we have even more buttons to work with, thanks to the forms of our, you know, Joy-Con controllers, as well as the Switch Pro controller. So that means about the fact that, well, it's pretty obvious that the Y button now actually act out as the spin attack, as the forms of that particular additional button, as opposed to, just with motion controls with, you know, Pro controller, as well as the Joy-Con controllers themselves. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just talk to the forms of Honey Bee again, or Honey Queen as what it's known, thanks to the forms of Mario Kart 7 and stuff like that. But yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going. So basically we just have to able to grab those star chips while we're trying to able to climb around, you know, Honey Queen's body. And once you're done with that, the launch star appears just like always. So then obviously we need to watch out for water if you manage able to transform into a bee transformation, because you know what, most insects, including bees alike, they're just not a big fan of water, because obviously they might not be good for its nature. So, well, when it comes to those insects alike. So, anyway, so now we actually meet up with the forms of our a good old friend, Captain Toad, or originally named Toad Brigade. So, in this case, though, is the fact that that was before when Captain Toad gets his own game until 2014. Well, that was back in the forms of, well, I would say almost 8 years ago, almost. So, yeah, I can't believe time itself just went flying by all of a sudden. So, anyway, B Mario takes flight as far as the first mission that we already, you know, completed. So, and that way we're able to unlock the next galaxy from the Terrace Dome. Mario, your name is Mario, isn't it? What is what I heard from your friends who just arrived? Mario, it has such a nice ring.
Look.
Your friends are waiting for you in the garage. And yeah, you can able to talk to them if you like. But I don't think I can probably able to discuss on that at the moment because, well, it's pretty obvious. We still need to grind for more power stars, including the Grand Star eventually. So hopefully we're able to do just that. So let's head over back onto Honey Hive Galaxy again for the second time. Well, at least as far as I can usually think about it. Well, as far as I'm guessing correctly, that this is our, if I would say for this point, our 14th time in a row that we actually going back into this level after the events of the original Wii version of the game for both the Mario playthrough and Luigi's playthrough. So, yeah, I guess I might as well able to get my total count. So, anyways, here we go to this next mission, which appears to be called Trouble on the Tower. So, in this case, though, we need to make our way to the windmill part onto that particular tower itself. And hopefully we can able to take down the forms of the next somewhat of a mini fight. So, anyways, but before we do with all that stuff though, as always, we need to grind for more star bits until specifically whenever we're able to actually access to secret galaxies alike. So, but then again though, like I said, I will try my best to able to actually just to make things a bit quicker and faster as much as I can. But regardless of everything else though, we'll just gonna have to accept that. So anyway, oh wow, I just got hit by that particular boulder for like nothing else, but that's okay because we got a coin and we can able to regenerate our health back, so that should be alright. So, few things I want to explain while this is going on. Can you touch that? Okay, there we go. I was just about to say that, recently, that, I suppose I should say, that Tiona, and especially notable with, Pac-Man has forgotten to mention about ever since in Let's Play so far, from the likes of the forms of not only The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX for the Game Boy Color, but also recently Donkey Kong Land 3, so that way we can able to wrap things up with the entirety of the Donkey Kong Land trilogy of games. So as a result though, that well, happy 3-year anniversary of the Nintendo Direct, based off from the likes of, I would say, to me though, one of the lackluster Directs I've ever watched. That's what appears to be by the forms that takes place in the 4th of September in the course of 2019. Although, don't get me wrong, there are some good parts looking back. Like, for instance, for example, Overwatch did manage to able to came onto the Nintendo Switch, which I guess is a good thing. And also, we have unseen flaws on Luigi's Mansion 3, which it was pretty cool for the time to able to actually see some of these new environments they were able to actually bring us into. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool back in the day. In addition to that though, Scream Park mode was actually added to the forms of Luigi's Mansion 3 for its multiplayer value. So just like the forms of how it does Scare Scraper from the likes of the forms of Luigi's Mansion 2 and of course Luigi's Mansion 3. And well, you probably already know what I'm trying to explain, because I know for the fact it has been I would say for about 3 days ago since I actually last played this. So, well, despite the fact that I ignore my, you know, the forms of the first part of this particular Super Mario Galaxy game onto the 3D All-Stars compilation version of that particular Let's Play, you must be able to actually realize that you must ignore the actual date confusion, because, well, this is actually pre-recorded, by the way, so I just want to classify that. Well, not just by the forms of the commentary, but for the forms of the actual the capture footage itself. So even then I just want to classify that, just because obviously we need to able to just get our recording session, get it over with and done with, before we move on to the forms of another few selections of quite a few Let's Plays for the sake of the forms of 2022. Well, aside from all that stuff though, is the fact that we pretty much nearly almost towards the very end of the forms of 2022 before we move on to 2023. So in this case though, we can able to accept this much. So anyways, let's take down this particular mini boss fight. So of course we need to take down the smaller one at first and then take the main one down like no sweat. So pretty easy though. Well, I fondly remember, well, it was no longer in our channel anymore, but I remember so much whenever back on the forms of 10 years ago, that for some reason I just keep on getting owned by that particular mini fight, which I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's because I was a bit too hasty sometimes, but regardless of such though, that's the more I'm grown older, then obviously I know exactly what to do. So anyways, back in here for the I will say the 15th time for this particular channel so far. I mean, mind you, we was able to replay most of those galaxies within 24 times total when it comes to the forms of most of the galaxies. Not all of them, mind you, but sheer amount of them. Alright, so here we go, Big Bad Buggaboom. So in this case though, that everything else is about to under attack by those specific creatures that we've already come across into since the second mission on this particular galaxy. So it's up to me to able to actually just to sometimes get rid of them, or most of the time deal with the main threat, which is of course Big Bad Buggaboom. So at the very least we can able to actually just well, focus on that during time. So in this case though, we'll just skip all that stuff for now and use the actual magnificent long jump to able to actually make our way to further areas and all that stuff. So yeah, that's to be expected at this point. And then although every once in a while the Honey Queen will able to allow us to use the launch star to able to launch ourselves right onto this particular area. So yeah, you pretty much expect what's going to be coming up. So because here's the thing, unlike in Super Mario Galaxy 2, that basically, if you're falling for our Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy 2, despite the fact that sadly that game doesn't exist on a compilation, like I said so many times already, that basically does the fact that we need to use Cloud Mario in order to able to actually just to deal the damage to Buggaboom and also make it to the actual battle arena. Whilst in here though, basically you just have to use B Mario and then simply just, you know, try your best able to actually ground pound his weak spots, which, by the way, his boss is pathetically easy if you manage to know what you're doing. But it can be quite tricky though, especially noticeable on the third phase when he turns all angry and red. So this means about the fact that he now just spins around and then he sometimes manages able to dodge my ground pound sometimes, mainly on this area, so, or in Sunday's assist, like right here. So, and every once in a while he loves able to drop some bombs at you, so you have to stay alert from that as well. So at the very least, still pretty easy when you get the hang of it, so you just have to watch out for your flight meter if you manage able to use it so many times. So, or to be more specifically, if you manage able to hold down the A or B buttons, depending on what specific buttons you use, basically you're able to actually not only fell into the water, but also that you get rid of your transformation. So, and I can assure you that it might also work with its normal form, but I highly doubt, I don't think I can able to demonstrate that. So, there we go, 7 power stars so far, and I think we've only got 1 power star left until we're able to actually not only actually access to the actual enemy base, but also just, well, basically just manage to able to, well, you know what I mean. So after dealing with that mission, in addition that if you grab 7 power stars, you're able to actually access to another secret galaxy, but also her first appearance of the Hungry Luma, which once again allows you to able to actually access to these secret galaxies that you can able to explore, assuming if you get quite enough of those star bits, for the sake of time. So, anyways, let's go into the forms of loop-de-loop galaxies, in this case, Surfing 101. So of course this particular stages on the Switch version might actually act out a bit differently than the forms of how it does it on the original Wii version of the game, or technically speaking, Nufakar's Shield Edition, which basically though is the fact that, well, you probably already know what to expect. So anyways, let's meet up with this coach fella, and yeah, we're like able to serve. So basically you can able to do two different methods you can able to deal with these, you know, the manta ray surfing. On TV mode or tabletop mode, basically you have to use the Joy-Con right in order to able to actually steer yourself. Whilst on handheld mode, you have to do a bit of tilting. So at the very least, it's a little bit different. So at the very least, I do like the fact that they obviously show us two different methods on that particular, you know, the actual motion control, motion thing itself on the box. Which I couldn't imagine that they'll do that on Galaxy 2, but I think the only reason why that Galaxy 2 was sadly not onto the Nintendo Switch is mainly because of the forms of maybe something to do with the Blizzard flight levels, that it might be pretty hard to emulate. Well, it might be something for that matter, but it's hard to tell. So anyways, let's get to it with the forms of the manta ray surfing levels, as you can see. So and also I just realized is the fact that for that particular go font is actually it actually feels like a lot more clearer than the forms of how it does it on the original version of the game, plus the Wii U version as well. So in this case though, is the fact that with the letter O, that is usually capitalized by the way, that basically gets like a very weird black dot in the center of the O, whilst thankfully on the Switch version is actually not only clear, but also a lot more better in terms of textures as well. So I have no idea why I managed to bring things up, but in this case though, that's something you need to classify that. So of course, take yourself a bit too easy, especially noticeable if you get onto these little curvy parts, and I somehow missed out about 4 coins onto that particular, you know, racetrack, because if I somehow get, you know, 50 coins onto that particular race obstacle, then obviously it allows me to able to get myself a glorious extra life, but apparently I didn't do that, but oh well. No big deal, but at the very least we got ourselves a glorious golden medal prize, which is of course the Power Star itself. So, huzzah, and also very well achieved, so to be expected at this point. So anyway, also I fondly remembered back in the forms of 3 years ago, when it comes to Nintendo Direct announcement back in 2019 and September 4th, although I'll get to more in a second, because we've now actually access to another galaxy, which you probably know what to expect. We have discovered an enemy base in the region. We can only hope they are not misusing the power of that poor Grand Star. I'm sure we're able to receive it back, so do not worry. So anyways though, yeah, before we continue discussing on that, or continuing our discussion with that, let's go and head over to our next galaxy, which is Flip Switch Galaxy. So everything else is all in blue and everything with that particular planet itself. So in this case, let's make our planet into, well, let's just say painting the planet yellow. So in this case though, we need to activate all of these switches within a yellow color scheme. So yeah, no coins to be found, and it's just basic. Oh wait, there are some coins there, I just wasn't paying attention. So basically, this is the only level that does not feature any star bits at all, because, well, as far as I'm aware, that there aren't any enemies to be involved, aside from, you know, lasers, in addition to that particular little, bouncy-like enemy that if you try to jump on him, you can actually act out as a spring. But we'll do that in a second, because, whoa, good lord, I almost gotta get myself a bit hesitated when it comes to likely, not to get hit by the forms of that particular spiked platform. But regardless of such though, we have made it. So, not too hard and too easy at the same time. So let's grab that Power Star, and we should be good to go from that particular, wow, galaxy itself. Because, well, unlike in Super Mario Galaxy 2 though, that's basically if you grab all these comet medals on certain galaxies, then you get yourselves an additional second mission on those particular galaxies themselves. So, but in this game in particular though, that we only have one Power Star to get in certain galaxies like these ones. So anyway, so before we wrap things up for almost everything in the terrace, we need to go ahead and feed the hungry llama for about 400 star bits. So And basically, we can able to just do just that. Ever since in a snack of cosmic proportions mission from the likes of the forms of the Good Egg Galaxy. So in this case, we have Sweet Galaxy as our first ever secret galaxies to able to explore, assuming if you're able to utilize the Hungry Luma. So, Rocky Road. So anyway, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, because I fondly remembered that it's been 3 years ago also of the existence of the forms of Super Kirby Clash, which is the forms of a free-to-play game with, unfortunately, microtransactions are usually comes into play. Although, usually despite the fact that I've got that game again, despite the fact that I haven't touched upon it too much though, mainly it's because of the forms of the locked behind the forms of those godforsaken microtransactions sometimes for certain things itself. But aside from all that stuff though, I still find that game alright. But it's just the fact that, well, it's kind of a shame that it's a microtransactions heavy game. So as a result though, that it just maybe seems a little bit bothersome. Especially noticeable, it doesn't help about the fact that, well, that game, unlike Team Kirby Clash Deluxe for the 3DS, that particular game does have a smooth 60 frames per second, whilst the forms within the Switch counterparts, they obviously locked it from the forms of 30 FPS. Very similar to, you know, Kirby-style allies, including Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So as a result, though, they can be felt a bit, well, missed opportunity, I suppose. But anyways, let's go ahead and just grab that Power Star, and we can get the heck out of here. For the sake of the forms of trying to able to, well, you know what I mean, just able to actually get back into the terrace as we go, and maybe we can able to take on the next boss. So, there we go, Galaxy completed, and so far we've got 10 Power Stars we've got so far. So I think at this point in time, I'm thinking that we actually did manage to able to get ourselves about 6 Power Stars so far. So I'm guessing it's a good start. But until later on though, I will try my best able to actually go after the insane amount of those Power Stars all in one particular run through on certain parts. But anyway, so let's just go and get to the forms of Bowser Jr.'s Robot Reactor. So hopefully we can able to take on this glorious gigantic boss in the game, which appears to be Mega Leg's Moon. Oh yes, we've met again Mega Leg ever since on the original version. Except the fact that it's now on the Switch, so that means we can able to now take you on in a pretty cool 1080p display. So with a much more better visuals and all the other jazz. Well, at least as far as I can usually tell for that point. So, anyways, let's use the bullet bill to guide to that particular cage to bust out through. Oh! Turn around! Turn around! Thank goodness it still hits. So, there goes that. And of course, some star bits we can collect before we start the fight. So, but first off, we got ourselves Bowser Jr.'s conversation first. Hey Bowser Jr., it's been a long while since after dealing with you since Sunshine. Wahahaha, you made it. But I won't even need my dad's help to take care of you. Go at him, Mega Leg. Stomp him with the powerful of your Grand Star. Because, yeah, I fondly remembered that, relatively speaking, that was back in ages ago. Whenever I first saw the E3 2006 demo from the original Super Mario Galaxy game, I do remember there are quite a lot of differences between the final version of the game in comparison to the E3 version. Is that, well, for one obvious thing, is the fact that with the background feels a lot more detailed in the final version, whilst the E3 2006 version, they obviously managed to got themselves a pitch black sky, while they still have stars around it. And second of all, is the fact that on that Bullet Bill's segment, that basically not only that usually in the E3 2006 version that basically that Mega Leg does have its regular Power Star, on the final version does have a Grand Star as a replacement, and also the cage section as well, that I believe in the E3 version it doesn't usually surround it, the actual the Grand Stars much, but on the other hand though, those fences are usually has higher defense, so this means every time when the Bullet Bill smacks onto the forms of those fences, these fences is not destroyed. So as a result though, they managed to fix that on the final version, but in the final version they surrounded every single fences around, you know, with the actual the red thingy itself on top. But regardless of such though, I beat him in the quickest time if possible, but you should able to deal with that boss fight no problemo if you ever played a game before on the original Wii console. So, well, aside from the Wii U digital version of the game, but it's kind of a shame that you can no longer get this game on the Wii U now, because, well, the only way you can get it is by getting it second hand on the physical version on the Wii, or trying to get the second-hand copy of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, so that way you can get this game from there.
Look.
That ball of flame represents the power of the observatory. We call it the beacon. When you recover a grand star, a little star power will be restored and the beacon will grow. The Comet Observatory can use that power to fly through the universe. Once all of the power is restored, we will even be able to fly to the center of the universe. Oh, the power is on a new dome. Which in this case, we've now actually access to the fountain. So yeah, you get the idea of how this is going, so... And every once in a while though, that's basically though is the fact that, well, it's not good until when it happens, whenever we're able to actually access to the third dome, then basically though, the music will be able to actually start to get upgraded. So to make things a little bit more iconic, especially noticeable, they managed to able to use that iconic theme a lot in most of those Mario games every now and then. Like one from the forms of Super Mario Galaxy 2, and especially noticeable with the forms of let's just say, Super Mario 3D World, and all the other games here and there as well, I guess. But regardless of such though, that's the only things I can think of. So, anyways, on to the second dome as we go to the fountain, and the first galaxy on that dome we can explore is, of course, Space Junk Galaxy. So, of course, the first mission we have is Pole Star Path. Which means that this particular galaxy has a lot of emphasis on pole stars you can able to actually navigate through by not only using Joy-Con controllers, but also just, you know, Pro Controller for its gyro sensing, and also with the handheld mode. Though I will have to admit though, I would not recommend playing the game on handheld mode still, mainly because the forms of not only for its awkward setup, but also if you ever try to play on the handheld mode completely, then basically you're pretty much deadlocked when it comes to likely that you can't have a third arm in order to able to deal with the forms of trying to able to obtain, you know what I mean, with the start bits and all that stuff, and even stun enemies every once in a while. But still, you might able to actually consider able to recommend playing this either on tabletop mode or the TV mode if you're familiar with the forms of the original Wii version of the game before on one hand. But I'm just still usually classified for saying this, so... But man, I'm very glad that we can able to listen to this very amazing musical piece again. But this time around though, on the Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, it seems pretty awesome and all the other jazz, because either way though, maybe it's just me, but usually relatively speaking that I usually love and adore the Super Mario Galaxy soundtrack, as well as Galaxy 2 soundtrack, because relatively speaking about the fact that, well, again, it's kind of a shame that Galaxy 2 music selection was not included, also, because, well, I just have no idea why, they just doesn't seem able to actually include Galaxy 2, because that will be a fantastic project for the sake of the forms of the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Lineup of games, but maybe because the forms of too much space to work with for its game card space storage or something like that, well, that might be seems the case. But anyway, let's just go ahead and deal with the forms of obtaining those silver stars before we're able to get ourselves our glorious power star if we try to navigate ourselves into, you know what I mean, with all that, you know, blocks that usually exist if you manage able to navigate for this part. So, anyway, and also I do fondly remember as well about the fact that they did manage able to get ourselves some more details about the forms of Little Town Hero, which admittedly though is the fact that the actual reception to that game is a lot more mixed than I was expecting, because usually it's so strange when it comes to Game Freak developers for the sake of the forms of 2019 that they obviously not only did they made you know, Little Town Hero, but also the mainstream Pokemon game as well during the exact same year as each other, to be more specifically because of how the fact that, well, I do know for the fact that the graphics themselves, while I will say it does not age very well, for the sake of the forms of not only for its more likely like a Nintendo 64 textures from Pokemon Sword and Shield, I will have to brutally be honest here, but also about the fact that it might be a bit rushed in certain times, but I don't know, it's probably just me. So anyways, let's head back over to Space Junk Galaxy again, except we can able to take on the second mission. So hopefully we can able to deal with Camilla's airship attack. So hopefully we can able to actually just well, I don't think I can probably do the experty speedrun tactic, to be more specifically by the end of this particular mission, because, well, I've seen several of speedrunners out there that if those who ever done that particular trick, that if you get hit by the forms of that particular fireball, and then basically you can able to actually make your way to the boss arena a bit quicker. But from what I've seen it's quite difficult sometimes, but I'm probably not going to be able to take my risks for that particular trick. So that's what I was expecting to try to do, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and flip the switch to able to actually just to progress, and then hopefully we can able to continue things on here. I was expecting to able to grab... Actually, no way. I think I should probably skip that extra life, so... Because, you know, this game is going to be too easy for me, especially after playing through it so many times on the Wii, including the Wii U digital version, and the Switch version as well, so... Because that's the thing, because unlike, you know, Galaxy 2, that the only versions you do have is both the Wii, or should I say, the Wii right now, and there's also used to be the Wii U digital version as well, but like I said, that you can no longer get both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 right now on the Wii U because of the forms of they managed to able to remove the eShop vouchers every now and then, which is, you know, very upsetting, especially because, you know, it'll be the last hurrah to the forms of how it does it for, you know, purchasing something for not only for the 3DS but also the Wii U stuff as well. So yeah, it's the future is bleak. The future is still bleak at the moment. Which to be expected by this point when it comes to gaming companies such as Nintendo. Well, luckily for Microsoft and Sony, that certain shops that still lived, well, the only exception being the PSP, but that's okay, because PSP is getting a bit downgraded in comparison to PS3, Vita, 4, and 5, due to the forms of that particular much more better Wi-Fi network features, even though that you probably expected by this point. So let's just... you locked me in place right there, and then you decided able to automatically teleport me on there for its boss cinematic scene, which, understandably so. Alright then, Camilla, we've met again for about, I would say this is our 4th time, or technically speaking, the 7th time fighting against with her after the original Wii version of the game. Well, usually as far as I can usually think about it, for the sake of our channel and all the other jazz. So, well, unless specifically the older version of that particular Let's Plays does not count, because, well, suffice to say, the older Let's Plays of that particular playthrough, despite it's no longer there anymore, usually sucks, because the forms of not only for its shorter time length, but also commentary is way off, and on top of all that stuff, though, the miserable camera recording. So, yeah, that's how that about the fact that we can able to expect that the future at this point for our channel is getting a bit better, especially noticeable about the fact that with capture card recordings, makes things a hell of a lot more easy to see, especially noticeable about the fact that with certain Let's Plays, makes things a little bit more easy to able to actually digest, even though it might be hard to explain. So anyways, let's grab that power star while I almost bypassing it with a long simple jump, but regardless of such, whatever, we'll take a star anyway. And that pretty much leads us back outside on that Comet Observatory because of the forms of that familiar number, which is unlucky 13, which means that there might be something it's up against.
Oh.
It seems that a prankster comet has appeared somewhere. Prankster comets have very strange effects on galaxies. If you want to learn more about it, then just talk to that particular hungry loomer right down there, which actually operates the actual, the prankster comets on certain galaxies. If you, well, you know what I mean. Because, well, unlike Galaxy 2, that basically those prankster comets will stay there forever if you manage able to choose a different mission. Like, for example, on, well, let's just say, in, Puzzle Blank Galaxy, yeah, that's the galaxy I was thinking about anyway, that unlike in that particular galaxy, in Galaxy 2, that basically does the fact that, well, you can still able to access the secret mission by any time, while the prankster comet is still with you, so at the very least there's no limitations there. So anyways, before we dive right into this though, Dino Piranha Speedrun. So in this case though, our first ever prankster comet we are tackling through, so basically just, you know, just hurry things up before you're able to actually realize that the time itself almost runs out, and then best be sure just do not let the time run out. So, self-explanatory. So, and of course those little boulders is now being replaced as in chain jumps because, you know, don't want to waste time and anything else like that. So, anyway, because as far as I'm aware, in this game in particular for Super Mario Galaxy 1, if you actually miss out on the forms of the secret mission, well, if the prankster comet comes into play, you cannot select the forms of the secret mission unless you either replace the different prankster comet into something else, or maybe just because the falls upon the fact that you have to complete it first in order to actually go through the secret mission and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking about it anyway, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and continue things on here, and just grab some more star bits alike, and also, getting back onto this specific topic though, I remember for about 3 years ago that I was very, very excited about the forms of playing as Banjo and Kazooie in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I found was a really great time on my book. Well, despite the fact that relatively speaking, with the forms of Spiral Mountain doesn't add anything too much to the actual level, but at least it's a nice little distraction when it comes to forms of that particular level alike. Especially noticeable that I'm very glad that, you know, back in the day, I'm still very glad they managed to go with the classic design instead of that very, very terrible nuts and bolts design. And also on top of that, they revealed, you know, Terry Bogard from the likes of Fatal Fury as in a Neo Geo fighter, which is, you know, the SNK fighter, which is really, really cool back in the day, which I did not expect it at first, but thanks to forms of rumors and leaks, keeps on, you know, spreading, and as a result though, it just makes things a little bit come true, but anyway. And also I fondly remembered about new info about the forms of Tetris 99, specifically version 2.0 update, back in the day that is, and also a brief new snippet of the forms of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, well, despite the fact that, relatively speaking, that it did came out in 2019 as opposed to that very terrible year that we've already experienced, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. And also with the forms of some third-party games, such as for instance with you know, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, as well as with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition, I'm guessing, and Assassin's Creed Ramble Collection, which is basically the compilation game, like what some toy sales has already mentioned about in the past, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. And also with the forms of Done List, and even in forms of Open Your Calendar, more games included, I guess, like Just Dance or something, and also finally some infos about not only Animal Crossing New Horizons, but also the last announcement, which is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which, God, I remember for about 3 years ago, I was a bit disappointed at first because I was expecting for Mario Odyssey 2, but apparently it doesn't, so... oh well, no big deal. But at the very least, things are in the past though, but either way though, it's just the fact that these are the Xenoblade Chronicles franchises I wasn't overly keen on at first, but that's just me. But, I digress. So, I think, suffice to say, I think we should probably just go ahead and say this right now. We got the endings off here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while we're playing through Super Mario Galaxy. And that is the fact that we'll head over back onto the Fountain Dome by able to actually, maybe we can able to actually do the rest of the missions there. So at the very least we got 10 power stars so far for this video. So yeah, it actually gets a bit lengthy at this point. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later fellas.